All righty, welcome to episode 19. Bet Parks presents Stick to Hockey Live. The one and only Brian Boucher, Bouche, is going to join us in just a moment from the NHL on ESPN, former NHL Hockey League goaltender as well. Tons to talk about. Let me tell you, before we get to Bouche, about the all-new Bet Parks app. It's beautiful, great. Flyers didn't get the Broad Street boost last night. It's up to plus 350 on the money line. Didn't happen in Boston. Sorry, I kind of liked it too and had a gut feeling, but my gut was wrong. But anyway, get on the Bet Parks app. You got a slew of football action, college and pro this weekend. Hoops, college and pro. You got hockey. You've got the final Formula One race of the season in Abu Dhabi. You've got international soccer. You can bet on all of it. Same game parlays, live in-game betting, props, player performances. It's all there for you. Easy to use and faster to win than ever before. And right now, all Bet Parks users can use the promo code JASON, JASON 750. And that'll get you a risk-free bet up to $750. Terms and conditions do apply. Again, that's for new and existing users. So download the Bet Parks app today. You need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, Conquerville Subaru. Well, I've been with Conquerville for years. Since 1989, I bought my first car there and bought many since. Why? Well, because they've always treated me well. It's trust. Conquerville cares. It's not a saying. It's a fact. And they continue to do great work in the community as well. Right now, it's underway. The Conquerville Subaru, the first Nation Love Promise Dealer of the Year winner back in 2015. And the Subaru Share the Love event is underway as well. It goes through January 3rd. And Subaru will donate $250 for every new car sold to one of 5 charities, either the ASPCA, Make-A-Wish, Meals on Wheels, Nations Parks, and Conquerville Subaru's hometown charity, Namor's Children's Hospital of Delaware. And you get to pick. It's a great time to visit the beautiful showroom on Route 202 in Glen Mills, and for the holiday season, of course. And you can check out the certified pre-owned inventory, a list of incoming Subaru vehicles, great service department with a free car wash with every visit. So visit ConquervilleSubaru.com and check out the showroom on Route 202 in Glen Mills. And remember, Conquerville cares. Let's get to him right now from the NHL on ESPN. He's been one of the viral moments of the NHL season already with his interview of Torts on the bench. It is Brian Boucher. Boucher, what's going on?
Not much. Yeah, that was a heck of a moment, wasn't it? I kind of was like dreading the interview too. Like I knew that they just got scored against and they weren't playing great. And I said to our producers, like, "Hey, we still gonna do this interview?" He's like, "Oh yeah," and that's what we get. So
your producer knows Torts and knows that you could get a really good viral moment, and that's like paid advertising right there.
Yeah, we suck.
We suck and we're not forechecking. What do you want them to do? Forecheck.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. The funny thing, like I'm on YouTube, and if I type in Torts, there's all these different YouTube posts about that interview. I mean, 111,000 downloads. Like, you're viral, dude.
Yeah, made it. I finally made it big time.
Yeah.
Right before Twitter shuts down too, right?
Yeah. You're like the last hurrah.
Yeah.
Dude, the hair looks good. How's the hair holding up?
Mine? Just got a haircut yesterday. And the fur neck going there for that game on Tuesday in Columbus. So I got trimmed up yesterday. Thanks, man.
Do you get more haircuts now that you're on TV, on national television?
I try to make sure that I get them done, every 2.5 weeks or so.
Wow.
But sometimes it's hard, I'm not a very good plan aheader. I don't even know if that's a word, So sometimes it doesn't work out. I was long on the neck there for that last game on Tuesday, but now I look sharp for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you're nice and coiffed for the Stick to Hockey Live show, which is great. I miss getting my hair cut. Like, I used to love that when I had hair. The chick running her fingers through your hair after washing it, the whole thing. I haven't had a haircut in like.
Oh, you go to salons then? You would go to salons.
I wouldn't go to a salon, but I went to abroad. Like, it was a haircut place. It wasn't like, like I'm going to, get a pedicure or manicure and all that bullshit.
Yeah. No.
But
I thought you'd be more of I'm a barber guy,
You're a barbershop guy?
Yeah.
Good conversation in the barbershop?
Yeah.
Always.
My barber this time was talking about he went on a retreat and, it's pretty, he got pretty deep. He opened up a little bit. It's pretty, I'm not going to share it on your podcast, but yeah, it was good. It's a good guy.
Right. Write a blog post about it. That'll be interesting.
I don't know how to type, so.
Yeah. First of all, the masks at the new house there, the way you've displayed them, was there
Yeah.
9 masks there? They're fucking beautiful, man. That's a great mount job by you. Did you get out the
Thank you.
level, Boosh?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's all. That was all me. I didn't hire anybody to do that. That's all me. And I'm missing some masks, and I don't know where they are. Like the Flyers mask that I wore in
2010.
09, 10. Yeah, I'm using that right now because I'm actually playing goal again. So I'm using that. This is the one from my rookie year. I'm missing the Coyotes original, the Kachina. I'm missing that one. I don't know
Mhm.
where it is, and I'm missing my backup Hurricanes mask. And then I got some that I'm putting in the garage just because I ran out of room here. So yeah.
Are they all Bauer masks, Boosh?
No, this one's a Warwick. I
Warwick?
tried. Yeah, I tried a Warwick mask. It didn't fit great. It's light. It's nice, but it just didn't. It was tight around my cheeks. It
Yeah,
kind of
those
hurt.
ones kind of
So,
come down like this, a little tighter around the chin, too.
yeah, it's a good looking mask though. I like it. Like Nabokov used to wear it, and the
Mm-hmm.
back was a little weird too. Something that I couldn't get used to. But it was way lighter than the iTech Bauer mask. I kind of didn't know if it was safe at first. I was kind of like, man, I kept saying to my equipment guy in San Jose, "You sure this is safe?" He's like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah." And I was like, "I don't know, man." So,
You're like, did you see the puck get lodged in my mask from Scott Gomez? Is this
oh,
thing safe or not?
can you see it? Can you? Let me adjust. Can you see it? You see it
Yeah.
over there?
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
cage
yeah,
right
yeah.
there
There's the cage.
with the
Yep.
puck in it. Yeah,
Yeah. Is that the
yeah.
real puck or is that just a prop puck?
No, it's a real puck. Let me get it. Hold on.
That's great. Oh
Look
my
at
God, just lodged in there.
see that?
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Look at the middle bar bent out like that. Oof. What a
Stop very much. Stop very
freak
much.
show moment for you right there, huh?
Yeah.
So you're playing goal again, Boosh? How did this happen? I
Yes.
know you were skating out, but now you've donned the pads again?
I have, yeah. I got asked. I played this past Sunday, and it was a Hall of Fame game in Toronto. But don't ask me about that. It was demoralizing. It was terrible.
Did Luongo score on you?
No, he didn't. I didn't play the second half. We had a university. I gave up 5 goals in the first period. I gave up a goal 29 seconds in. Renberg scored on me, and it was demoralizing. Truthfully, I thought I was ready to go. Like I felt good. I'd skated a bunch of times, and I'm like, yeah, I feel great. And it just, I got torched. And so we had this university goalie who was like another goalie, and the other guy was Corey Schneider, who's still playing in the American League. So I was like,
Yeah. That
how
ain't
fair
right.
is that? I'm like,
Yeah, that's
guy's still
bullshit.
playing pro hockey, yeah. And so we had this extra goalie, and I said to him, I said, hey, you want to play? He's like, oh my God, I'd love to. I said, get in there. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll have a beer. You
Yeah,
know?
games like that. I showed up at one of those charity games playing for a team against the Flyers alumni, and I'm in the
Yeah.
room before the game, and Eric Ty was putting it together. And I go to him, I go, dude, where's the other goalies? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, you're it. I go, dude, you're going to put me out there for 3 periods against these guys? I'm playing with a bunch of shamads over here. And these guys, they don't just come, the alumni, they don't just come in the zone, shoot, and then leave. They
Yeah.
move it around for like a half hour and just
Yeah.
destroy it. I saw like
Yeah.
85 shots. I was like, dude, don't ever call me again. I was fucking dead.
Yeah. Well, I think they got a tough time getting people for that Hall of Fame game because I've been asked like 4 or 5 years in a row, and every year I've said no. And this year I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do it. I was working on the summer. I felt good. I was like, I'm 45. If I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So I said,
Yeah.
sure, I'll do it. You know, I worked it out and saw my son in Ottawa before and kind of, killed 2 birds with 1 stone. And but no, yeah, that was terrible. And now I understand why they have a tough time getting goalies to play. And Luongo didn't want to play goalie either. He actually scored. He scored on the university goalie in the next period. So
Oh, nice.
glad
Better him than you.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you using the old leather and deer hair pads from back in the day, or you got some new gear?
Oh, I got my last pair of Vons. Yeah, they're all
Okay.
white. When I went to go play in Switzerland, they're all white. But they're old school. They're not the new age. Yeah, I
Were
did
you
get new
RVHing
skates.
all over the place?
No, the hips are tight. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I did get new skates though because I had been wearing the same skates for like 12 seasons, and just changing the cowling, and the skate broke down when I was playing in Switzerland. It's part of the reason why I couldn't get the new skates, and it sounds crazy, but it was like when they brought in another goal and they wanted to buy me out, I was like, yeah, I'm good. My feet kill. So, but I got those new skates. Not the ski boot one.
Yeah,
But
not the buckle.
one prior to that, man, they're nice. They feel
no
great.
cowling, right?
No cowling. Too much blade on it though. Like when I go out and play the puck and skate, like I toe pick sometimes. There's so much blade on there. Oh my god, I'm not used to.
And it's pointy too at the front.
Yeah,
they come to like a pretty abrupt.
Yeah.
And they're all lifted. The blades are higher now.
Yeah. Easy to push though, you know what I mean? And I like how they got that like little loop in the back there. You can put your strap in there.
It's the Lundqvist loop.
Yeah, it's good. It's I like it. It's good.
Allows for good pad rotation.
Yeah, getting all fired up. Maybe I'm thinking about making a comeback. Who knows? You know, got some work to do.
Well, there's a lot of backup jobs available, Boucher, and that's good money if you can get it. If you can do that work.
Like $2.5 million now. Where the hell was that when I was playing?
Yeah, I mean, like Ellis or not Ellis.
Elliott.
What's his name? Yeah, Brian Elliott down in Tampa. Talk about the best job on earth as a goalie. You don't ever play with Vasilevsky there. Even if he gives up 6 in the first, that dude's staying in. You're just parked on the bench.
And he never gets hurt, so you know you're never going to be asked to play for 3 straight weeks. Yeah, I know. It's a good
And if you do get in there, you're getting run support. You're getting 5 or 6 a night from the boys in front of you.
Yeah. You get some vitamin D down there, too, on the off days. It's great. Good living.
Yeah.
Good for him. Hey, he's earned it. He's had a nice career, Els.
Yeah.
You know, so good for him. Yeah.
9th round draft pick, too.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
No, he's had a great career.
Bush, where I want to start with you is I want to start with Carter because he started out this year just unbelievable. And I want to ask you about preseason because it's my contention now that he should never play preseason again. He got run into in practice, so he was out, didn't play any preseason games, basically missed all the scrimmages too at Skate Zone for training camp. Then he comes in the first night of the season. His first 8 games, he goes 6-0-2. He had a .949 save percentage after 8 games. And by my count, in those 8 games, he gave up a bad goal in 6 of them, but rebounded mentally and played incredibly strong. How important is preseason for a goaltender at the NHL level to dial his game? And is it overrated to say that he needs to play a decent amount in there to do it?
I think preseason is really important, to be honest with you. I can't believe he's got off to the start that he got off to. Without training camp, to be honest with you. I just don't, because like I always found, when you first get back, you got to work your way up. And, so maybe you play a half game, your first start, and then you start playing 2 periods, and then you work at the 60 minutes, and you kind of get your game sharpened up that way. To step into a regular season game without any of those reps, to me is, that's surprising. I don't think it's something that he should probably look to do going forward, but it speaks to how dialed in he got mentally, probably, and the quality of practices that he did have whenever he did get on the ice. So there's something to be said for that. Like if you instead of doing a ton of practices, maybe just focus on some quality, make sure your mind's in the right spot, you're ready to go, because I always found the toughest thing is when you take time off, the speed of the game, you're trying to catch a moving train. It's really difficult. So the game seems like it's 1,000 miles an hour, but he seemed to be, right where he needed to be and on point, which is truly surprising.
And his play reading too. That's the thing that makes it difficult when you haven't played, because your brain is chasing the play at all times. And, I said, in 6 of those 8 games, he gave up a goal that he won't like, whether it was through him or just kind of a weird goal. There was one against, I think, Vancouver that he had the skate on the post and it just rolled over it. He had an overtime loss of 1-0 against the Rangers. But, I mean, he's played really well and rebounded. What have you seen different from him? Because to me, he looks a little more explosive in his movements, and the compete level seems a little higher in the sense that he's not just relying on his technical abilities. He'll abandon them a little bit quicker now and just compete to make a save.
No, that's a good observation. I would agree with that too. I mean, he's always had this quietness to his game that I think you appreciate, kind of like what we see in Carey Price. He's not, it's not an over activity in the crease that kind of makes you nervous and you just know it's eventually going to end up in the back of your net. He's got a calmness to his game. With that calmness, it can be misunderstood or kind of misjudged for what looks like a lack of compete at times. But I think you're spot on. I think when he's had to be explosive, he has been. When he has to fight through traffic, he has done that. And it just looks like he's more in control of his game, which I think it's inspiring his teammates. Number one, I mean, when you see a goaltender in there compete and make reads that are on point, like, whoa, our goalie's going. So, I think anytime you start a season, you want to get off to a great start. So obviously the motivation's there to do that. And he's gotten off to a really good start. The scoring chances, I think early on in the year, like the first 6 games or so, I think the scoring chances against were 20 plus a night the Flyers were giving up. So those victories that he had were goaltender wins. I think the Flyers are playing better now. I think the scoring chances have been cut in half, or less than half. So they're not getting the results, which means the game is funny that way, right? I mean, you go and you steal wins, and probably games you shouldn't have won, you won, and now they're playing a little bit better. They're not getting the results, but as long as his play stays where it's at, that's a real positive sign for him in his career.
Boucher, he's a high volume goaltender. Anytime he's had, I think, over 36 saves in a game, his record, I think, is 13-2. Talk about shot volume as a goalie, because I've always said it's tougher to see 22 shots in the game than it is to see 38. Mm-hmm. You'd rather the 38, even though that's counterintuitive. But were you that way as well, where you wanted volume to touch the puck and really feel like you were into the game? And because those long stretches without touching the puck and just kind of moving around, and your team exits the zone, that doesn't do you much good.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to not give up a lot of volume, that's fine with me, as long as you go and get some run support. I mean,
yeah,
it's when you don't get the run support and it's still a 1-goal game, and then there's a grade A opportunity against, and it ends up in the back of your net. That's where it's frustrating.
You'd be sitting there for 9 minutes with nothing, right?
Yeah. Now, it's one thing if they go and get you 4 or 5, to play with. That's a different story. But yeah, I always like more shots. Look, you don't want to give up A+ quality for those shots. I mean, keep it to the outside, that type of stuff. I always felt better when I had more work that way. But
builds confidence.
It does. I mean, it just gets you into the game. You're into the flow of the game. You're not. The thing about a goalie, this is like you can't go out and lay a body check. You know what I mean? There's only so much control you have in the game. You have to let the game come to you, and you don't know how it's going to unfold on a nightly basis. So there is an element of patience that you have to have in order to be successful. And I think it comes with experience. It comes with repetition. And so, yeah, I mean, if you can learn to manage those lulls in a game and not get worked up, you're going to have success. I mean, one of the best ever in the NHL, that we've ever seen, Marty Brodeur. I mean, he didn't have a lot of volume when it came to shots, and his team didn't score a ton either sometimes. And yet it was always having to lock it down. And that's why I really have a ton of respect for his career. And I've had goalie coaches tell me that, Martin Brodeur is overrated. He's not. I'm like, how do you say a guy that won? How many wins did he have?
I think he won 3 cups.
How many like career wins?
Career wins? I'll look it up. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Because Patrick was 551, right? I think, or I'm trying. He had to have been in the 600s. I don't know. You win that many games, give me a break. Come on.
You play that many games, Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, that to me is to be able to handle those situations where, maybe you're not getting a ton of work, but you stay dialed in and make sure you're ready for that potential grade A that's coming in a 1-goal game. That's unreal mental toughness.
691 in 1,200. Yeah, that's sick. Number 2 is Patrick Waugh, like you said, 551. So he's 140 ahead of him. Holy shit.
Right.
That's crazy.
How can you say a guy's overrated when,
come on, the result.
I'd say he's rated right where he's supposed to be.
I heard an interview with him too, Bush, and he said something really interesting because, he played on a team with low shot volume by relative terms. And and I was talking about this on today's Flyers Daily, actually, because as a goalie, you don't go to the bench, you don't have a seat and drink of water and have a recovery period. And that recovery period is also mental. And I remember Marty saying when the puck was down the other end of the ice, he had to almost check out mentally But as soon as the rush got outside the opposition blue line towards the red line, that's when he re-engaged mentally, started assessing who's got the puck. Is he fast? Is he going to go wide? Where's the left-hand shot? And started assessing all that. You have to have those mental breaks as a goalie, even when play's going on, if it's at the other end.
You do, and I wish I would have known that little trick earlier. Maybe it would have helped me out,
Because you get mentally gassed if you're sit there and you're engaged all the way at the other end.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's so much pressure the whole game. And again, if you don't have run support, you're constantly having to stay sharp. I don't know that I never checked out when the play was down the other end of the ice. That's for sure. I mean, I felt like I was still very much on. But he's right. Then when the play comes center ice, you got to get refocused and start to get your reads and stuff and get your ice. But
yeah,
I mean, the fact that he was able to do that, that's probably why he was able to do what he was able to do. I mean, he played a lot of hockey every single year, 70 plus. He was a workhorse. And I think he also, for the lack of work that he got in the shot department, he certainly made up for it in his puck handles. That's another way for a goaltender to stay engaged and sharp.
Yeah.
And I think he really enjoyed making plays to his defensemen so that they could break out cleanly. He seemed to take a real pride in that.
Yeah, that I thought that was really interesting when he said that, and he was so economical in movement too, like just so chill. It was like the heart rate wasn't over 50 beats per minute. Like I remember, like he wouldn't, if a puck was, his defenseman was taking a puck behind the net, a lot of goalies will shuffle over hard, grab that other post. He would just turn. He was just, okay, I'll go over here.
Who was like that too was Mickey Kiprusoff. Kipper was the same way.
He was a freak show, wasn't he?
I think Kipper would actually just get on, like he'd bend over and just put his elbows on his knees. Like he just was like, it's all good. But, I know he's got it. No problem.
Yeah.
You're right. Whereas I was like, it's super
glove up.
And, making sure that, just in case it's a turnover. Yeah. But you're right. That type of energy, it takes energy to have that. So it does sap you over time. And take that, and now imagine if you're like that in the morning at morning skate, and all day long you're on. You know what I mean? Like it's draining. And when you get to game time, sometimes you just don't have the energy you need to play. So the guys that can manage that, those are the ones that end up playing a lot and end up being great. And it's not easy to do.
Yeah, it's an efficiency with their energy. I'm doing my thesis, Boucher, for my doctorate. It's my contention that goalie, if you play the position of goalie, you want control because it's a very controlling position in the sense that it's so important to the result of a game. But the conundrum here is for the goaltender is an alpha athlete wants to dictate the terms, but goalies are always reacting, as you just kind of alluded to. Yeah. And it's my contention that a lot of goaltenders, because they couldn't control their athletic activity, it was more reactionary. You can control some things. They are more OCD off the ice because they have to control everything there, whether that's routine or whether that's when you're done playing. You have these rigidity of control because as the one thing that you did as an alpha athlete, you didn't have control. You buy into my thesis?
I do. I can relate to it 100% because, I always felt like my preparation was something that you're right, I 100% had control of that. And if I did what I was supposed to do, it would give me the chance to be successful that particular night. And if I didn't control what I could control, now I left it up to chance. And that's a bad feeling. And that's how you lose confidence, right? Mm-hmm. So you're right. I agree with your thought process there. I think you're onto something. And it's, I think I have that issue. Like I have certain things that I want to control in my life. Like I want to make sure that I'm on it. And, you have a tough time trusting that somebody else can do it. You know what I mean? Like I can do it better than somebody else. If I'm delegating responsibility, it could be all, house stuff. It could be, you know what I mean? Like
and you end up going, I'll just do it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Because it'll be done right.
But in the end, like even like with your children, you want them to learn stuff, and you've got to have the patience to sit down and try to teach them instead of getting aggravated over the fact that you know that you can do it better. Like, I think that's something that I've tried to learn as a parent, to let them do stuff and try to be patient and teach them what I want them to do, and understand that they're going to make mistakes. But yeah, you're right. For somebody that is definitely an A-type personality, it's a difficult thing to do, to give up that control.
I'm the kitchen cleaner here, and I had my son Evan, who's 16, going to be 16 in a month, empty the dishwasher one night. And like when I put the silverware away, you know, the little spoons go with the little spoons, big spoons with the big forks, little forks. I think he just took the silverware thing out of the dishwasher and just dumped it in the fucking drawer. I was like in hell. I'm like, oh my God, dude, never again. You know, I mean,
it's funny you say that about just today. I was the dishwasher. I always load the dishwasher. My wife empties it, but when she empties it, she puts the where you put the silverware. She puts it in a different spot in the dishwasher every time, and I always put it back in another spot. And I said to her, I said, do you not realize that I like it here, right? She goes, well, then put it there. I was like, well, no, I'm asking you to put it where I want it.
Yeah, why do I have to move it every time?
she's like, well, then put it there, It's just stupid, you know what I mean?
Your wife and my wife need to get together. My wife walks into a room and there's 7 fucking cabinet doors open. She closes nothing. Not like her contact solution, the lid always up. I'm always closing it. I don't wear contacts and I'm closing it. Shampoo bottles, cabinets, she leaves every fucking thing she opens open. It's like a poltergeist in my house. Like I walk in the kitchen and there's 2 seconds later, there's 9. I'm like, what did you get? It's unbelievable.
Oh man, yeah, but you're right. That's a great point about the control stuff, man. I never really thought about it, but for sure, that's you're onto something there.
All right, Dr. Boucher can write the foreword to the thesis. Let me ask you, because I got this message, I got this DM from a guy, Flyers Squid, last night. He said, is it just me or does Hart seem to give up an inordinate number of breakaway one-on-one goals? He says he always seems to fall further and further into the net as the attack comes at him and never comes out to cut down the angle. I love his overall improvement. And I download the Bet Parks app if Hart gets scored on during this one-on-one. So that was just the end part. But breakaways, Boosh. And I talked about this on Flyers Daily because I addressed this with the guy. You know, the difference between a breakaway and a penalty shot or a shootout attempt is vastly different, because a breakaway can happen like that. And you have to assess the situation really quickly. You know, a breakaway can take place from your own blue line in, from the far blue line in. What's the difference in how the goalie approaches it and how much ice he takes and how to kind of flow back with the player?
Well, I think what you just said, it depends on where it originates from. That's probably the biggest determiner as to how you're going to play it. And that's why, you said Marty would check out at the other end of the ice, but you got to recognize if something's brewing where something like a hope play or something like that, or D-man's walking the blue line, could be a shot block. Like, you got to be ready, and that'll dictate, how you're going to play it. Breakaways it's totally different than the shootout, because typically the player is coming with speed. He's got pressure on him. So they're not thinking the way they are in a shootout, where they're going to, I think they have an idea of what they want to do, because they have a strength that they have when they're on a breakaway. But yeah, you got to get ice. You got to get ice, and you got to match the speed. I think that's the most important thing. And if you back in too quickly, you open up the chance for a shot. It just opens up more options for the shooter. I don't think I was a very good breakaway goaltender myself.
Oh, fuck off. The Elias save, I put it in the tweet for the show today. That's one of the greatest saves in the history of the game on a breakaway.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe
Jonesy wasn't catching that guy.
No, not even close. But, they're tough. They're difficult saves to make. And if you back in too quickly, you can get in trouble with the shot. And I think on that one goal, who scored that? Was that Krejci who scored that goal last night? Breakaway?
Yeah. And then Boone Jenner got one on him the other night too, on that high block from TK. Speaking of which, it was a block at the opposition blue line.
Right, both on the blocker side. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So one was a righty, one was a lefty. Yeah, they're tough. I'm sure he wants to come up with those saves there, and you need those saves there if you want to win. So yeah, maybe what was his name? He might be onto something here. Maybe it's something that Carter has to to focus on in practice.
Flyer squid was.
I think Flyer squid. I think you can. That to me is like looking at video. I think you can look at video and see what your speed is versus the player's speed. And I thought Lundqvist was always great at breakaways because he had a level of patience as the guys coming in. Don't start backing in too quickly, or too early. If you back in too early, now you give him too much net. So I think there's a level of patience where you show the shooter he's like, okay, shot's not, because he looks up and he's like, okay, shot's not going to be an option here.
Yeah,
there's no chance for shot here. So now I'm thinking deke, and then now you get going with your backward skating, and now you shut down the deke. So I think it's initially the patience to not start to retreat too quickly or too early. That to me is the biggest key.
Yeah, I think you're right too. And then you can flow back with them perfectly and just be patient and not bite on the first move. That's
but think about it. If you hang in there a split second longer, it's a bad feeling. You get this feeling of a guy coming with speed, and you don't want to be caught flat-footed. You know? So
just go around you.
Yeah, but there's a level of patience that you have to have initially, and then you got to get going with the matching of the speed.
What's like? You never played for Torts, but Torts. You worked with him last year.
With him. Yeah.
So, but you never played for him. What's it like for Carter? New head coach. It's Torts who comes with a lot of brim and fire, and we know what Torts is like. And I mean, he'll say sometimes like, I need to save for my goalie there, and all the elements of a very demanding coach. Now, he has said that he doesn't coach the position because he doesn't know anything about it. He leaves that to Kim Dillabaugh, which I think is a great buffer for Carter and Felix Sandstrom. But what's it like playing for a coach like Torts with that accountability factor?
I think there's there's an excitement because I think you know that your team's going to play hard in front of you. There's going to be effort, right? So I think that as a goaltender gets you pretty jacked up, because you want your team to have some life. You want them to take some pride in defending and blocking shots and paying the price. So anytime you have that, I think that automatically ups your excitement level to want to play for that coach. With a guy like Torts, I think, there's a level of accountability from player 1 to player 22. And you're part of that group too. And you've got to hold yourself accountable, not only to yourself, but to your teammates and then the coach. I don't think Torts is one of those guys that he's you got to be accountable to me. I think he wants eventually to hammer down what he wants. And then I think he wants the room to take care of itself. He wants the guys to police each other in that room. The Flyers are not even close to that point yet. I mean, he doesn't even have his leadership group really intact, right? He's still trying to figure that out. But a Torts coach team, to me, on the outside looking in, is okay. I'm going to come in. I'm going to strip you all down, right? We're gonna build this thing back up. We're gonna see what people are made of. The ones that don't want to be here or can't handle it, we'll find another place for you. But the ones that are here, you see my expectations, the bar where you should be, and then now you guys take care of it. The leadership groups take care of it. So now, as a goaltender, you know if it's a bad goal, you don't want to give up bad goals for your team. These guys are putting their bodies on the line, blocking shots for you. You know what I mean? Like blocking 20 plus a night, paying a price. Guys are fighting again. Like, when did you see that in the Flyers in the last couple of seasons? Never happened.
Yeah.
So you respect that. You respect that in your teammates. So you want to hold yourself to a standard that that you can be proud of and that your teammates are proud of. So I think that's what Torts brings. And I think for Carter, it's just a fresh start and excitement. And I think he wants to prove to people that he's an elite goaltender in this league, which is what we all thought he was at the beginning. And it went sideways on him. And I don't think it's necessarily, his fault. I think he's a product of the environment and what took place here. And the Flyers lost their way for a couple of seasons. And now hopefully they're on the path to getting some respectability once again and being tough to play against.
Yeah. And, being tough to play against isn't just beating them up. It's just, whenever you play the team, you go, we know we were in a game last night. Like, we know we're not going to walk in there and it's just going to be some easy affair, whether it's in our home building or on the road. You want a team to know that you're going to feel it the next day a little bit. Let me ask.
Well, that game last night against Boston, right? It was
Mhm.
2-1 in the third period, and they lost Konechny
Yeah,
at the end of the second, right?
huge
So
loss.
they're in that hockey game. Unfortunately, you know, they make a good play. Zaka makes a good play on Provorov there, and it ends up in the back of your net. I mean, kind of an unfortunate play, but they're right there. It's a 2-1 game. So for the Bruins, yeah, they busted it open on a late power play goal, but that was a good game. Like, it was
Yeah,
a good game, and it's not
played
like
him tight.
yeah, it's not like you're gonna go in there and you're gonna beat them 6-1, and they lay down for you, and it's an easy night, and it's cookie night for their players. I mean, that was a hard fought game. I think the Flyers should be proud of that.
How about the frickin' one-time slap pass from Pasternak to DeBrusk? Jesus,
I don't know how DeBrusk was able to
I don't
put
either.
that in. It wasn't like it'd be different if he was on the other side of the net and it was on, you know what I mean? And he just has to one touch it in the net, like
Yeah,
redirect it in. He was on a one timer side. So you got to time it and like put it in this way. I don't know how
yeah.
he's able to do it.
That
DeBrusk was
thing's
sitting there.
85 miles an hour. That pass.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I don't even know how he saw it. First of all, because there was a one of the Flyers defensemen was fronting
Hmm.
Pasternak for the one timer, so that was coming through a bit of a screen, and
Yeah,
DeBrusk was able to get. Maybe it was lucky, who knows? But DeBrusk has been a much different player for Boston this year.
yeah.
Incredible. I mean, yeah, he couldn't find a way to get in the good graces of Bruce Cassidy when he was there, and now all of a sudden he seems to be a different player. So, wow, good for him.
Yeah, Monty's done a good job up there. I mean, they're 15-2, 10-0 at home. They started out the year with no McAvoy and no Marchand. They got them both back now. Look out, the Bruin. I thought that was a playoff spot that could have been up for grabs
I was
in
with
some
you.
ways.
I did not see that coming. At some point Bergeron has to get tired, doesn't he? I
Ugh,
mean, Jesus. At some point his play has to drop off. Like, come
yeah,
on. And even Krejci, I didn't have high hopes for Krejci coming back, but
no.
Taylor Hall. Forget about Taylor Hall. Like, he's a pretty good player. Like, I mean, we kind of like. I think
It was a heart winner.
yeah. I think I kind of like just you know blew him off and was like, oh, this guy just, he's just riding it out. He looks to be re-engaged. So, and Charlie Coyle's in the right spot. He's a third line center all day, every
Yep.
day. He should not play up more than that. He's in the perfect spot, and they've got the teams. They play with some jam, and those older guys that I thought were going to fall off haven't fallen off. They're very good, very surprising to me.
The reason why Taylor Hall falls in line is because of a player like Bergeron. Doesn't let guys do that. He's such a
Yeah,
freaking pro.
yeah.
And he certainly didn't get the memo about his age. And the thing about that team, too, I mean, they're really deep. And Boosh, they have so much identity. Like, they know exactly what they are. There's
Yeah.
no confusion at all in that locker room.
No, and Lindholm's been great too. That
Oh,
that was an underrated trade last year.
yeah.
I always liked him in Anaheim. He was okay when he came over last year, but this year he's been lights out, especially in the absence of
McAvoy.
McAvoy. I think Grizzlick was out at the start of the year too, so
Hmm.
Carlo missed some time. So yeah, they're unbelievable, and they defend hard. And like you said, I think Bergeron is the guy that he's the guy that's running that ship. And I think that's the point that I'm trying to get at is like that's what Torts is trying to find. Like, you get a guy like that runs. Jim Montgomery's not going in there and telling those guys what to do
No.
as far as their culture in the room. Come on, that's a great situation for Monty to step into, to have a leadership group like that.
Yeah, when Bergeron speaks up, everybody's got to listen. Hearing it from your peer is way more impactful. Boosh,
Mm-hmm.
is this the credit card bill finally due on the Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins here? They're off to a scruffy start.
Yeah, I mean, you had kind of like what I thought with Boston. I mean, you had to think at some point they were going to be on the backside of it, right? And I think we're starting to see that. But Washington's had a lot of injuries too. So
Hmm.
Wilson's been out, Backstrom, so they don't have a full complement. So it's hard to judge that team fairly. Pittsburgh, they got off to a good start though, did they not? I
Yeah.
thought they won like the first four
Then
or
lost
five,
7 straight.
and then lost 7 straight. So I'm not going to count them out because you got Crosby, you got Letang, Malkin when he feels like getting after it, he's a hell of a player. So I'm not going to count them out just yet. Just maybe they are showing a little bit of their age.
How
Uh,
about the Devils? Because they finished 2 points ahead of the Flyers last year in the standings. They're a game back right now of Boston. I mean, they're 14-3. They've won 11 straight. I mean, they're just the goaltending. I have a huge question mark there for them. But they bring in Dougie Hamilton. I think he's made a bigger difference this year, and he sure's been really good as well. But I guess the Devils at this point fire Lindy to sorry Lindy.
Yeah.
Lindy at home and rough on the road, but Jesus.
Surprising to me too. I didn't think that they would be where they're at right now, but it just goes to show you, no matter how far away you think you are, maybe you're not that far. Like, there's hope for some teams that you think your rebuild's going to be years and years away. And with the development of some players and some talented players, it can turn pretty quick. Because, like you said, I mean, the goaltending. I mean, they're down to their third string goaltender right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it's not a problem. So, they added some players too. When you add a guy like Andre Palat, I think he brings in a winning element. I think guys respect that. When you bring in a player like that, that's a player that you kind of like. Oh, what was you say to a player like, what was it like in Tampa? Oh, how was that? And you want to pick the brains of those guys. And I think that helps some young players like Jack Hughes and your Jesper Barats to kind of transition from like always being about the skill and the highlight goals or whatever or what have you to now being more team-oriented players and having success that way.
Yeah, playing winning hockey, not statistical hockey. Big difference.
Big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's paramount. What's it been like for you with having a son making his way after being a first-round draft pick? How's it been for you? Stressful?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say stressful. I mean, you want to try and help him and give him good advice along the way. I think that's the thing that you want to make sure you're keeping his head, in the right spot, because there's pressure on these kids. They see some guys that they're drafted with the year they're playing in the NHL now, so there becomes a level of impatience and some not I wouldn't say doubt, but like just kind of like, what about you think it's going to happen for me? Of course it's going to happen. It's going to happen when it's ready to happen. Every organization is different. Every player is different. It's been fun to watch his journey. This year he got off to a good start and was playing well. Unfortunately, he got suspended 6 games. So he's returning tonight. So you're just trying to help him through that too, right? Where you're kind of like reminding him that I didn't agree with the suspension. I thought it was a suspension based on the result that happened. The player got injured, and it was tough to see. But I think the kid is okay now. But I didn't think there was anything bad on Tyler's play that warranted 6 games.
Yeah, I saw the hit too. I agree with you.
And what's unfortunate is that you're rolling, your team's rolling, you got good momentum going, and now it stops. So now he's gonna have to crank it back up, and hopefully he can and continue developing his season, because I don't think he's a dirty player. I know he wants to play hard, and sometimes when you play hard, you're going to cross the line. This was one that I don't think there was any malintent at all. He was just finishing a check, and it was just an unfortunate situation where the kid got hurt. So yeah, I mean, but you want to help him out, right? You want to help him through that. Keep making sure he's staying engaged. Try and tell him, you got to make sure you're, when you're watching games from upstairs, try to pick some things out. So try to learn. Like you can always learn by watching the game. I think that's the one thing. I don't know if the kids do it enough today. They don't watch the game the way I watched the game when I was younger, because we just watched full games. Now they've got the ability to watch stuff on Instat, and they can watch shifts and break it down shift by shift, but they're not watching the game. And I don't know if watching shift by shift tells the whole story.
Lacks feel.
But that's how they consume it now. And so you hope that he's doing all the right things, and we'll see. He returns tonight, but as a dad, it's fun watching him play. I really enjoy it really is one of the greatest things. I love playing the game and I love hockey, but there's no better joy than watching your kid play at a high level. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and going through the journey that you went through. I see with my son, he plays midget now, and it's like he'll have like 4 games on a weekend, and he'll come home and he'll be stick handling and shooting pucks in the garage at night. I'm like, dude, go fucking chill out. Like, but he
That's
just
great.
loves it, right? You know,
Oh
and
man, that's great. If he does that,
yeah,
that's the passion you need to get to the highest level, in my opinion. Like if you don't, if you have to try and drag a kid in there to do that stuff, boy, he better be exceptionally talented. It's going to be tough. It's easier to try to calm him down than to kick him in the rear end to get going.
yeah. I got to drag him out of there. I'm like, dude, it's below my studio. Like, I'm trying to get some shit done up here, and all I hear is kick, smack into the. I swear he never hits the net. He hits the freaking post every time. I'm like, oh my god. But you got to drag him out of there every once in a while. But he loves the game, and I think he's getting a ton from it. You know, not just the athletic part of it, but what it can do. For your life going forward, and I think that's the most important thing. Boosh, this was awesome as always. Everything going well at ESPN?
Everything's good. Yeah, we got like 2 weeks off now. I think we kind of go on a little bit of a hiatus. TNT, I think, does the Black Friday game. Yeah, so we're off. We're going to enjoy Thanksgiving.
Nice.
It's great. I mean, it's good. I mean, year two, I think, year one, there was some wrinkles that needed to be ironed out. And I think year two has been a lot better as far as the behind the scenes stuff. It's always difficult when it's a new team coming together so quickly, but I think we're adjusting on the fly. We got good people working there, fun group to be with. And it's fun. I mean, I'm fortunate to have this job, to be honest with you. There's a lot of guys that I think that would love to have it, and I think it's a nice change of pace from when I played, because you took the losses home with you every game, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard on the mind. It's hard on the family, because when you care so much, it's like you just in it all the time. And now I can watch it. I can get away from it. I watch hockey every day. I watch games here in the that I missed last night. But it's not like win or lose for me.
Yeah.
It's just a totally different speed, and it's nice.
I will tell you this: that if they put your job out as open, there'd be a line around the fucking building for people to take it. They'd love to have it.
Oh yeah, I know.
And the other thing is,
I hope it's not available for a little bit.
yeah, the other thing is that something that you've done now on a number of occasions is you spotted a goaltender in distress on a number of occasions, where you can tell he hurt himself before even he pulls himself out of a game. He did it again the other night. And I know what you were reading on the goaltender. First of all, the way he flexed back, and then the way he put his arms after he was injured. He didn't put his body into his usual rest position.
Right.
As a goalie, you have all those little positions on your pads for your glove or your blocker so you can rest and disengage your muscles. And when you saw that he wasn't in that position, you knew something was wrong.
Well, it's easy for us because if you're a goalie, you're looking at your partner every time a save sequence happens, and because if you sense he's hurt, your heart rate goes from 80, which is resting, to about 175, like that, and you're like,
oh shit!
I better get ready here,
You start yelling down the bench, fucking tighten it up here, boys.
Oh yeah, exactly. Especially
I just had a hot dog at intermission.
A high-powered offensive team. Well, but Jonesy my rookie year, Jonesy he was hilarious. He used to always, I was so happy to be in the NHL, right? Sitting at the end of the bench there, and playing with John Van Beesbrook, one of the great American goaltenders. So you never think he's going to get pulled. It was different back then. Goalies didn't get pulled that much, but. Jonesy used to always come down to me after Beezer would give up a goal. It'd be like 1-0, and he'd skate right by, and he'd go, "Start stretching, kid. You're going in." He'd say it every time. After every goal, he'd wink at me, and he'd go, "Start stretching. You're in." Oh my God. So, that's the truth. I mean, the reality is when goals go in, or if you see something that doesn't look right, your mind has to flip quickly and get ready. So I think I see that stuff from upstairs. Pretty easily.
Yeah, and you're looking down the bench going, is the coach considering this, or what's going on here?
And sometimes when you don't want any part of that game, you try to look as small as possible on the bench.
Yeah, you're shrinking.
You'll hide so he doesn't see it. You don't make eye contact, because the minute you do, they're like, "Boosh, get in there!" You're like,
yeah,
damn it,
You're down at the end of the bench, like, I'm not here.
Oh yeah.
Not an option tonight against Tampa when we've already given up 4 in the first. Right. No thanks.
The one that I used to get nervous at was when you go to Detroit, and back in the day, oh my God, like the boards were like they were fast, and the team was so skilled. They were like ahead of their time. Datsuk and Yzerman and Shanahan and all these guys. You just
Lidstrom.
When you didn't see your name playing that night, you were kind of like, oh, man, I'm mad I'm not playing, but really you weren't. You were like, thank God I'm not playing tonight.
Stat saver.
Statistical nightmare when you play there. So yeah, with a couple quick ones going there, you're like, oh boy, here it comes. And you're sitting on, and you're not on the bench, so you're not really engaged, and you're like, oh man, you can just feel it. It's a bad feeling.
You're going, fuck, if Datsuk gets a breakaway, I'm going to look like a freaking idiot. Because that dude was ridiculous.
Gross. Ugh. He was gross.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine the knots he could tie people and the goaltenders into. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Boucher, great work, man. Thanks for doing this. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the holiday with the family, and best of luck to Tyler and to you and yours.
Best to your son as well. Happy Thanksgiving. We all have a lot to be grateful for, that's for sure.
No question. Thanks, Bri.
All right, buddy. See ya.
There he is, Brian Boucher from the NHL on ESPN. Great stuff from Boucher, as always. Fantastic conversation. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And awesome stuff. Love it. BetParx app. Get it. It's a great weekend. You've got football coming up next week, too, for the holiday, for Thanksgiving. You've got football this weekend, college and pro. Huge college football weekend. You've got hockey. You've got hoops, college and pro. You've got Formula One. You got soccer. You got it all to get the action in on. And the BetParx app is the place to do it. That's what you got to do. Get the BetParx app. Player performances, same game parlays, live in-game betting, first to score, exact score, you name it. It is all there with the BetParx app. It's easy to sign up, fun to use, easy to use, and faster to win than ever before. So download the BetParx app today. You need to be over 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, we'll have another Broad Street Boost for you coming up next Wednesday. Flyers play the Caps that night, so it'll likely involve that game. Also, check out Conquerville Subaru. The just fantastic dealership, great people. And right now, it's the Subaru Share the Love event. Started yesterday, actually, and it goes through January 3rd. Subaru is going to donate $250 for every new car sold to one of 5 charities. You get to pick either the ASPCA, Make-A-Wish, Meals on Wheels, Nations Parks, or Conquerville Subaru's hometown charity, Namor's Children's Hospital of Delaware. All great causes. And again, you get to pick where that money goes. And it's more than just a dealership. Great service department, free car wash with every visit, great people. So visit Conquerville Subaru on Route 202 in Glen Mills. Visit ConquervilleSubaru.com. And remember, Conquerville cares. All right, Flyers are back in action coming up tomorrow night in Montreal. They're 0-4-1 in their last 5. Look to stop the bleeding. They'll return home for Hockey Fights Cancer Night on Monday against Calgary. Then Wednesday against Washington. Then Thanksgiving on Thursday. Friday, Black Friday game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then they'll wrap up the calendar week with a back-to-back. Go to New York to take on the Islanders for the first time this season. So a lot of hockey ahead. 5 games in 8 days. And you can join us Monday. On Monday's episode, we're going to have a recently inducted Hockey Hall of Famer. We had Al Morgani on last week, I think so. And he just got in on Monday. And coming up this Monday, it will be Bill Clement. Just got into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So he will join us in Monday's episode. And we'll talk to Billy about the season, about his hockey life, what led him to the Hall, and much more. So join us then and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That'll help other Flyers and hockey fans find this podcast. 5-star rating and review, of course. And we will talk to you Monday. Everybody, have a great weekend. Enjoy your hockey this weekend. Enjoy the cool weather. And we'll talk to you Monday on BetParx Presents Stick to Hockey Live.